race last January because I thought this war, the war in Iraq, this war of choice, was such a terrible choice for this country. I think it's weakened us at home. I think it's weakened us abroad. Our military is stretched thin. We're spending $250 million a day over there. We can't afford to fix levees in New Orleans. We're spending $250 million a day over there, and the high school I teach at in Bridgeport shuts down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. These kids are going home to an empty house. We're spending $250 million a day over there. We can't afford to secure our ports, New Haven, New London, Bridgeport. That's where we're vulnerable. That's where we're at risk. I tell you, this government is making some bad choices. And on November 7th, we have an opportunity to start making some good choices. And I need your help every step of the way. First and foremost was education. You want to keep good paying jobs in the state of Connecticut? You want to know why we're losing so many of the jobs? They're going to South Carolina, they're going abroad. The best thing we can do as a country is invest in education. Think about education no longer as just K through 12. You got to think about education from preschool all the way through higher education. I think the federal government's got to get involved. We're going to make preschool affordable for every kid that can't do it, so by the time they get to kindergarten, they're ready to learn. When you look at college, you know, my God, you want people to be able to afford college. And right now, college is getting further and further out of reach for so many of the kids that I teach. I teach a class down at Harding High School called How to Start Your Own Business. This has got to be a priority for our country. More grants, more loans, more rungs on the ladder so people have an opportunity to go forward. That's how we're going to make sure that we have the best trained workforce in the United States of America, best trained in the world, and that's how we make sure that when you graduate, there are good paying jobs here in this country. Right now, we've been losing a lot of those jobs. And your second question, involved immigration. I'd say two things on immigration. It's so important that we do secure the border, and to secure both borders, to your point. Let's face it, a lot of those terrorists, they didn't come in 9/11 over the Rio Grande. Some of them came down via Canada. And so there is risk there. If you really want to deal with security of our borders, though, President Bush isn't serious about it. You've got to deal with those employers who hire the illegals. As long as you have employers waving $10,000 checks saying come across, people are going to come across. And I disagree with my new good friend, Alan Schlesinger. Alan says of all those 12, 13 million people who are in this country without the necessary paperwork, he says just give them the boot. And I just think that's dead wrong. These folks are going to earn their way to a legal status. They're going to send a message loud and clear. I hope the people around the country send a message loud and clear that now is the time for us to bring our troops home to the hero's welcome. Those bills, Marianne, that we looked at just last July. One bill said, I think a year is a reasonable period of time that we start redeploying our troops, start bringing most of them home. And it's time for the Iraqis to step up. Only the Iraqis can make the political compromises that will result in peace and stability in that part of the world. And that would be my first initiative.